Welcome back to Green White Checkered, episode 2 here at the Phoenix International Raceway. Just kidding, we're not in Phoenix, we're actually in our studio. But the content's still the same, and it's always good here on Green White Checkered, so stick around, we got a big show coming up for you now.
Meanwhile,
Come now.
Formula One is expected to make an announcement as to whether or not the FIA is going to grant Gene Haas the approval to field a team for the 2015 Formula One season. He's made previous comments about fielding a team and the fact that he might actually have a good shot at it. Haas has a really strong partnership with Ferrari, so we all know that if a team were to develop, he would get a lot of engineering and a lot of technical help from Maranello, Italy, from the Ferrari base.
NASCAR has previously considered making the Daytona 500 a night race. Now, for the past X amount of years, it's always been a day race, but having these rain delays and having it been pushed back to the night, NASCAR has considered making it a permanent night race. Now, NASCAR will have to get the approval from Fox as well, so if this was to happen, it would probably be pretty big news, and we'd definitely be covering it here on Green White Checker.
Last week at the 56th annual Daytona 500, Glenn Wood made his 68th annual appearance as an owner, obviously of the very famous number 21 Ford. 68 years is an amazing milestone, and we thank him for those 68 years in America's greatest sport.
Alright, welcome back to Green White Checkered. Daytona 500 was last weekend.
Yes.
That's a big race. That's not only a big race points-wise, to get off on the right foot.
Right.
It's also a big race sentimentally, I guess you could say. It's a race that every NASCAR driver really wants to win.
Yes.
Now, Travis, a lot of highlights in this race.
Yes.
A lot of spots that we should probably touch on.
And we're going to start off with Austin Dillon.
Right.
Austin Dillon was on the pole in the very famed number 3 race car,
This is a big deal.
as made famous by Dale Earnhardt Sr., who won in 1998 after over 2 decades of trying. Amazing moments there. Brought back a lot of memories for a lot of the fans there, and especially for the Dillon family and the Childress family, and obviously, of course, the Earnhardt family. Now, Ian, who was a driver who kind of got off to a pretty rocky start in the beginning.
This was someone who a lot of people expected to see big things from, and that's Kyle Larson. We've had our comments on Kyle Larson. We are not very fond of his credentials.
No.
We think he should have spent more time in the Nationwide Series, and it was shown in the 500.
Yes.
Early laps, it couldn't have been later than lap 7.
No.
Very early. He goes up to the high side, and if you're really big into racing, a lot of race fans don't actually know this, but early on, race car drivers like to run low tire pressure
Yes.
in the early laps, and he got a little high, maybe got into some marbles,
Yeah, definitely.
and the blue tire went up into the wall.
Drivers like to run that lower tire pressure so that over the race the tire pressure builds and they don't have to start off with the high pressure, because naturally the tire will gain pressure throughout the race.
And that's a rookie move to me. That I think you saw. You made the point. Yeah, it's turn 3. They're going faster. It's a gradual dip into that turn.
Right.
But still, it's early.
Could have been resolved.
Yes,
And
it
it could have
definitely
been avoided.
definitely could have been avoided.
Now, we're going to talk about later the competitive racing. I believe you'll say something about that.
Mhm.
Even before the rain delay, which again we'll mention later,
Right.
it was very competitive racing. Denny
Oh.
Hamlin, who I picked to be the superstar that week, actually was leading for quite a bit. And right as the rain started to come in and the rain clouds started to move in on the radar, Kyle Busch made a very bold move and decided to just gun it, heading, I think it was leaving turn 2.
And we criticize Kyle Busch a lot.
Right.
But the one thing that makes Kyle Busch that I like is that he is not afraid to go out there and take risks.
Right.
And that was very evident during Daytona 500. The rain clouds are coming in. He's going to do everything that he can to get up in the lead because he doesn't know if that's the last lap or not.
Right.
And this is a chance for him to win the Daytona 500, and we've seen him come close these past few years.
And we can criticize him as a person, and we can criticize him and his attitude towards racing, but you can't knock his racing ability.
No,
I mean, there was
race.
at Martinsville, to sidetrack, at Martinsville a couple years ago, spun coming out of turn
Right.
4. Not a single car passed him. And, like, he's just got that amazing control of the car. He's a great driver. So then, right before this rain delay, tell us about the rain delay.
Rain delay was apparently the longest one, or one of the longest in sports, almost 6 hours.
Yeah.
Just a little bit over 6 hours. And they must have showed at least 3 or 4 programs during the rain delay on Fox, which really it doesn't bother me.
They even had time to show last year's race.
Yes, they showed from lap 50 to go on.
Oh, yeah. They showed the beginning, too.
People were tweeting Jimmy Johnson like, "Oh, great job on that Daytona 500 win," and he's like, "No, that would be last year."
Yeah, it was total mess up. A lot of people even mistook it for the race. It was a big mess, but 6 hour and 22 minutes of a rain delay.
I thought the Juan Pablo incident a couple years ago was with that was the longest.
That was a very long delay too.
It might have felt longer because that was later at night, and I don't know what it is, but it seems like every race that I watch through and through has a 4, 5, 6 hour rain delay in the middle. And this is probably why I'm slowly learning not to watch NASCAR, is because it just got this huge chunk of nothing in the middle.
After this amazingly long and ridiculously long rain delay, we had some interesting racing. Ian, elaborate.
Oh my God, you would have never thought this was NASCAR the way it has been the last few years with the tandem.
Yeah.
After the rain delay, it was suddenly the Sprint Unlimited all over again with a larger field.
Yeah.
Because you had 150 miles almost.
Yeah.
And they just went for it.
Mm-hmm.
It was all out from there on, and it was lead change after lead change. You were wondering every lap who was going to take the lead. You were wondering if there was going to be a crash, because there was at least 4 or 5 laps at a time where they were running 6 deep, 3 wide.
Oh yeah, it was really impressive. And the best part about it was we had that competitive racing, yet we had multiple wrecks.
Right.
But we didn't have any super ridiculous like Talladega style wrecks, which shows the testament to the maturity of the drivers, that they want the competitive racing just as much as we do. So they're willing to maybe let each other go a little harder, a little more, and just for the sake of more competitive racing. I thought it was a great race.
It was amazing from there to the finish, and I was very impressed. Another group of people I should say that we really knock on is NASCAR,
right?
Especially of lately, but I do have to commend them. Everyone in that organization that helped on with that aero package did a great job. That was give it up a hand for NASCAR for their great aero package for Daytona, and we'll see how that works out with Talladega in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Talladega is pretty much another Daytona. It runs a little bit differently, but I'm expecting the same thing.
Yeah, a little wider track, so it's going to be a little bit more competitive, which should just be 10 times better.
I don't care. We'll see 4 wide, 5 wide. We've seen Talladega. That's for later. I'm already getting excited.
A couple more weeks.
All right, Travis, bring us right to the end of the race.
And so, with all this competitive racing, we're talking about stellar drivers. The one driver who did a phenomenal job after the rain delay was Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Right.
We talked about the track where his father really did well at. It took him over 2 decades to win the Great American Race, and he really showed his strength. He led for 6 times a race-high 54 laps and brought it to the checkered flag. First win in 55 races, ends a 55-race drought. Great win for him, and because of the new point system and because of the new chase, the implication of this is that he now has practically locked himself into the chase with a win. I mean, great job to Dale Earnhardt Jr.
We said last week, chase. I mean, yes, you win. You stay within the top 20.
Yeah.
You're in the chase. And guys, Dale Earnhardt Jr. does not win a lot of races, but he is definitely he gets top 10s.
Yeah.
Almost every week.
Yeah.
He's not. You may not see it in his winnings, but if you look at the statistics and you look at top 10s, you look at top 5s, you look at top 20s.
Yeah.
He gets them almost every week.
Yeah, I mean, he's an incredibly consistent driver. And if we go back to last year, at the end of the chase, those last 5 races, I think, he was so consistent. finishing in the top 5 almost every race, I believe. If he didn't have the trouble in the beginning of the season, the beginning of the chase, sorry, a lot of people think that he could have contended with Jimmy Johnson for the championship lead. But the chase, you have to get off to a good start, and if you don't, it can really set you back. So Dale Jr. is looking like a favorite this season.
And I hope we can see some competitive racing out of Dale Earnhardt Jr. And the rest of the drivers, especially with this new aero package coming up. That's our Daytona 500 recap. I think you got some fancy coming up with Amanda coming up next.
Yes, we do.